My name is Reverend Joey, and I'm a minister of Wicca in Fairfax, a little town in Marin County. I'm a real reverend. I do weddings and funerals and all kinds of family counseling. I have a master's in clinical psychotherapy, a master's in holistic counseling, and a master's in religion. I have a variety of minor degrees, hypnotherapy-related topics to spirituality and counseling. This is my business card. I'm passing it around. Y'all can have one. I hope you each will take one. You can call me. I mean it. If you want to ask things that you don't want to ask in front of the class. There should be extra cards when you get those passed around. I wanted to... where to start? There is no way I am going to cram 60,000 years of women's wisdom into an hour lecture. So I'm going to start with a tiny bit of history. I want to find out what you all want from this. And I have a whole lot of things I would like to share with you. Okay? Pardon me. I understand you all just saw The Burning Times. Is that correct? Thank you. Okay. Starhawk was my personal teacher. I have a huge amount of respect for this woman. What have we here? About 4,000 books. Let's see. We can start passing some of these around just for amusement while I talk. Here we go. Spiral Dance. This is the Spiral Dance by Starhawk. This is the book I use when I take on private apprentices to teach the craft. If you read nothing else on witchcraft or Wicca, read the Spiral Dance. If you're not going to read the whole book, read the part about the god and the goddess. Okay? Witchcraft, Wicca. Wicca is a nature-based spiritual practice from pre-Roman Northern Europe. It's a nature-based spiritual practice. It honors the feminine principle. We live today in a patriarchy, and our world is dominated by three monotheistic, singular God systems. It's a very different structure than Wicca. Its philosophies and values are in many ways antithetical to the Wicca philosophy. Okay? So, where to begin? What would you all like to get out of this today? What would you like me to do for you all today? Is there anything in particular you want to know about or hear about? Because I can just talk your ears off for hours. I love this stuff. Yes?
I'm not sure what to ask for. You're offering, what can you show us? What can you show us?
Okay, sure. Let me just go for it then.
My first instinct is to say, we'll do a trick. And I know that's inappropriate. I'm just saying, when people ask things like that, that's kind of my first reaction. So what can you do? Okay, great. So where to start? Let's see. I will start with this small altar. Now, an altar is a state of mind. You can make one physically, of course, but it's the mind, the intent that makes it real. I believe it was Ray Bradbury, the sci-fi writer, who told us any sufficiently technologically evolved society is indistinguishable from magic. Okay? There was another sci-fi writer, I believe it was Asimov, but I'm not sure, who tells us that yesterday's magic is today's science. I just took a class in parapsychology for its, what do they call it, continuing education units for licensed clinical psychotherapists. And one of the things they told us in that class was in the studies of parapsychology, they have discovered that some people, not many, but some people can tell colors with their fingertips. The sensitivity in some people's fingers is such that they can feel the variation in the light's vibration from color to color. Some people can hear sounds that others cannot hear. Some people can distinguish shades of red. And of course that goes all the way to the other extreme, as some people can't tell brown from green from red. Okay? In practicing Wicca, I have an innate ability to feel. Everyone is born with this. Everyone has it to some degree, some more than others. I was born with the gift, and I've spent my life training it. First, I was trained indirectly by what were quite literally pagans, people of the earth, old ladies who grew up on farms and lived on farms and died on farms. They taught me a great deal about herbs and growing. But more than that, they taught me that taboo knowledge about how the cycling changes in the moon affects our bodies and our husbands and our animals and our crops. Okay? How everything was interrelated. I was taught this deep respect through knowledge, through awareness of the power of nature.
It's like the old American Farmer's Almanac.
Bingo. Very much. So, where to go with that? Let's put up this altar. Can I make fire in here, or will the, can I light a candle, or will these alarms go?
We'll find out.
Now, working magic is about intent. Oh, okay, so the point of all that was it's awareness. In Wicca, it's not that we have faith, right? In the monotheistic religions, you are told what to believe and you must believe that. In Wicca, you must believe yourself. What do you hear? What do you see? What are you doing? Why are you doing that? Take responsibility. Know where you are and how you're moving. These cycles throughout the month of the moon, right, are closely tied to women's bodies, to our sexuality. This is the fundamental core of the split, the misogyny, the fear and loathing of nature and women. It's the innate knowledge that women have just because we're aware of our own bodies. And so we know, we feel, we move with the moon. Big surprise, now that they're not burning us and people can go to school, we find out that all kinds of plants and animals have chemical changes throughout the month, throughout the cycle of the moon. You gather blue vervain on the dark of the moon. Evil witches, stupid superstition. No, it's not. It's awareness of the difference on the dark of the moon. And sure enough, there is now you can measure it in your little labs, right? So the knowledge is available to those who don't just feel it, right? And most of us have just been trained not to feel it. Who know? Anybody in here study any psychology or classes? Okay, a little bit. Okay, great. So in psychology, there's behavior modification. You reinforce a behavior, there's more of it. That means you get an M&M, you do it again, or a joint or whatever it is, a kiss, whatever turns you on, you do it some more, right? What do you do when your bratty little 5-year-old keeps saying poo-poo? How do you make him stop?
Time out.
How?
Time out.
So you ignore him, that's right. Get out, you don't pay attention to it. So everything you ever did that was any of your psychic ability, psychic. It's not psychic, it's just extra. Many people have it. It was trained away by benign neglect. No one ever said to me, oh, you don't see those lights, you don't see any spirits. But I remember trying to show my mother the lights I saw, and her going, Joey, and giving me something else to do. She just blew it off. She didn't see it. So it's this awareness of where we are. The most obvious one is day and night. Everyone feels that natural cycle, right, and moves with it. The moon, a little less knowledgeable, but when we are aware of it and move with that energy, it's very powerful. And it affects all kinds of things. Let's see, I have 1 million books. I could not bring everything. I would have if I could have.
Can I interject one
Please.
thing? What you were just talking about, that reinforcement or ignoring what a child says, happens in Iceland, doesn't it? Because when a child says, I have a playmate and his or her name is blah, 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 and he or she is an elf, the parents go, oh, I had one too when I was a kid. And reinforcing that.
Yes, validates it.
Yeah, validates
as opposed to ignoring it.
Exactly. So this particular part of the lecture you could put in your paper. Keep being aware of your prompt and what possibilities there might be. Go ahead.
Okay, so earth, air, fire, water. Come on, how magical is it? It's the dirt, okay? The point is that we are aware of this nature. The Christian religion teaches us that nature is evil, that woman, especially being so close to nature, is evil. In fact, so evil is that the Catholic Pope changed the world calendar from 13 months, 13 moons, to 12 on the ground. That marking time, according to a woman's sexual cycle, was vile and wrong and gave too much validation to women. Papal bull changed how we mark time. That's why your months don't match up with the moon.
She
Right?
wasn't
There's
cursing when
13
she
moons.
said papal bull.
Who knows what a papal bull is?
It's like a proclamation.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
Yeah. Papal means from the Pope.
That's
Yes.
also the same in astronomy. That there are actually 13 constellations, and you're actually
Thank
not
you.
the real constellation that you think you are.
Thank you. Right. So, as you can see, a huge amount of the knowledge of Wicca has been lost, the knowledge of nature, and is coming back to us both through our ancestors and through each other, but also through our here and now experience. So we experience the earth, air, fire, and water. When we cast a circle, we're doing several things. First of all, we literally have these elements here, okay? It really is water. Who knows Michael Franti, the musician? Every drop of water is a holy water, right? Earth, air, fire, water. But more than that, I trigger in my mind, okay? I trigger in my mind what I know about these things. I shift my mind to that. Like when you step into the playroom and you shift into pinball mind. Okay? When I set up the altar, these awarenesses come to it. So we resonate with the real vibration of the actual thing. Again, they used to burn women for saying we could feel or see these energy fields. Now it's measurable in a variety of ways, including Kirlian photography, biofeedback, many other ways to validate these experiences that women were first burned for having, and then medicated, locked up and medicated in a kinder, gentle misogyny. Earth, air, fire, water. But more than that, we're calling in the spirits, the entities. What is a spirit? What is an entity? It is my personal experience that there is an intelligence in these elements. Think about the vast, unending knowledge, the vast, unending universe, and your little tiny gray brain, okay? And there's a little finite chunk of matter as we attempt to comprehend the infinite, the holy, the great. So we bring it down into these knowable aspects. Earth, air, fire, water. It's here, it's now. I can touch it, I can do it, I can move with it. So I'll cast a circle right now. Right, the third thing with the entities coming in is that they will encircle and protect. So let me show you how I do this. Now, there's all kinds of magic tools one can use. A magic wand is often called an athame, right? And people have many different holy wands of different materials. And Starhawk points out that in a pinch, you can use your holy Swiss Army knife, your sacred pen, right? Or if you're locked up in prison with the other women for demonstrating at the nuclear power plant, you can use your finger. And if they tie you up, you can use your mind. And that's where it really counts, is your intention. Anyone study quantum physics? The development of crystals under the microscope according to the intention of the watcher. The effect of the experiment is necessarily impacted by the observer, by the participant. This is inevitable. So, let's have some impact right here, right now.
You want me to lower the light?
You can if you wish, my dear.
Better.
Okay, now what am I doing? I'm scraping my feet on the ground. This was a Wicca must. It is not, okay? I'm scraping my feet on the ground. This is something that I do. It helps ground me. It's bringing me into my body. I'm talking to a whole bunch of total strangers about something I often get assaulted for, right? So let me come down for a minute here and ground myself. I'm going to take a deep breath. Oh, wicked magic. You never learned this in your Kung Fu class or anything. Take a deep breath. Oh, biofeedback. Look at that. Their heartbeats are changing. Must be sanctum. Has to be. No, it's a deep breath. It's nature. It's being aware of what you feel in your body. Not only are you allowed to feel it, you're supposed to. So, I start. Now, have I got this done right? This is a new room for me, and I'm thinking this is west, right? Okay. Earth of the north, air of the east, water of the south. Water of the west and fire of the south. So let me start with the east. I'm making what's called an invoking pentagram. I start at the top, and we're invoking, pulling in, invoke, voice. With my voice, I bring in.
In the morning when you come to class, where's the sun? Point.
Where's the sun when you guys come in the morning?
You wake up the sun.
The sun's over there,
Okay.
right? That's what I'm thinking.
That's east.
Hail, great and glorious guardians of the watchtowers of the east, great wraiths of the elemental air, breath, word, scent, and sound. Air of the east, come into my circle. Guide me in word and deed as I work today for the good anthropology class, right? For the good of all in the anthropology class. Welcome, air of the east. Now in a ritual, everyone would repeat after me at that point. Welcome, air of the east.
All right, welcome, air of the east.
Now I'm turning to the right. This is the invoking direction, clockwise, sunwise. It was called sunwise before clocks were invented. Okay. Hail, great and glorious guardians of the watchtowers of the south, great race of the elemental fire, heat, flame, transformation, passion, rage, destruction, salamander king. Fire of the south, come into my circle. Guide me in word and deed as I work today for the well-being of this anthropology class. Welcome, fire of the south.
Welcome, fire of the south.
Hail, great and glorious guardians of the watchtowers of the west. Great race of the elemental water. Neptune, mermaids, guppies, whales. Tears of joy, waves of happiness. Water of the west, come into my circle. Guide me in word and deed as I work today for the well-being of these students. Welcome, water of the west.
Welcome, water of the west.
And hail, great and glorious guardians of the watchtowers of the north, great wraiths of the elemental earth, body of the mother goddess under our feet, grounding, gravity, rocks, gold, dirt. Earth of the north, come into my circle. Guide me in word and deed as I work today for the well-being of the students of the anthropology class. Welcome, Earth of the north.
Welcome, Earth of the north.
The earth, the air, the fire, the water, the circle is cast. Now there's a million different phrases that can be said, right? And different covens, which is what we tend to call a group of us working together, different groups will say different things at different points. If you're going to be Catholic, you have to say it exactly the way they told you to, right? But in Wicca, you have to say what's real, what's true. Just say what works for you. Your group will figure it out. The point of Wicca is the point of the ceremony is to take care of our spiritual needs right here, right now, whatever they are. Not to force ourselves into memorizing these words and these motions. Okay? The motions, the words are all in support of the product, of the influences we attempt. Now, having said that, I want to pass this book around, The Hidden Messages in Water. Masaru Emoto. Thank God, he went and got a PhD on the magic power of water, only it's no longer magic power, it's now science, because a dude wrote a paper up and got letters after his name for that. Who's familiar with this? Anyone familiar with this? Okay, our bodies are mostly water, the earth is mostly water. He's done a series of experiments, irrevocable proof. Have water, you say, I hate you, I hope you die. You look at the water under a microscope, the molecules form messed up, irregular crystals. You hold water, I love you, thank you. If you look at it under the microscope, snowflakes, perfect symmetry. This is your body. This is your body. These little growing kids, you fucking brat. You're impacting that child's physical with your words. Is this magic? Well, it used to be, but now it's science. You impact with your words when you say, I can do this. I can do this. You're shaping the water, which is the bulk of your body. And what does water conduct? Electricity. Right? Everything is energy. Everything is energy. Okay, let me pass some more things around. I want to show you guys some actual genuine witchcraft stuff. So in doing this, I'm asking you to be respectful. Okay? If you want to ask me questions or something, you can. But I'm going to pass around a couple of things. I've never done anything like this before. This is a book of shadows. Who knows what a book of shadows is? Yes. Can you tell us?
It's where you keep all of your writings and the steps of your rituals.
Very good. It's a notebook on the magic you do. Each person makes their own. And you know what? I don't keep up with mine. I hate writing down all that shit and doing all that part of it, and keeping notes and writing everything. But when I do, it's really cool. Because when I'm making spells, everything I do is totally custom tailored. Okay? When I'm making a spell and I'm in there doing the work, it's like making love. It's like dancing. You can't say in advance, first I'm going to do this, and then after my hand has been behind his ear for 2 seconds, I'm going to slide it down, twist it. You can't do that, right? When you're in it and you're doing it and the energy is flowing. Same with dancing, same with doing magic. So I have some general ideas. Rose quartz is good for the heart, right? There's a million details of technicalities, matchups, correspondences that I could teach you. But when you're in there doing it, it's like cooking. Yes, dear?
Yes, when you were saying that all those spells that are in that book of shadows are custom from you, right?
Yeah, I made these.
How, my question is, how do you know if the spells actually did work? If
People call me up and say thank you all the time. They give me beautiful presents. They come back. Typically, I'll see a person 1 or 2 times, clear up whatever's going on, and then like 4 years later, they'll call me up and be like, oh, my kid's going to college. Can you make him a protection spell? Or, you know, oh, the doggy's passing. Can you come out? Or whatever. I'm a minister, so I do all kinds of family counseling.
How would you know, like, what things to put together to make a protective spell, or to...
Okay, like I said, I've been trained for 40 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been training for 40 years, so it's like asking a chef, how do you know how to make a cake, right? Well, but it's like making apple pie, right? There's 40 ways to make apple pie. It depends on what kind of apples you have, what kind of flours you have, right? What you're working with. It's the same with when I'm making spells. So I'll let you guys look at this. There's some symbols in the front, and it may not make sense to you, but should I start here? What, you want to start? And I'll put some other stuff in your hands, too, that you can look at that I think is really important. This is a deck of goddess cards. I use the tarot cards. Okay, Joey, I start trying to say too much because there's no way I'm going to give you 40 years of training in an hour. So, let's see. Okay. Goddess worship. Goddess worship. Venerate the vagina. You're not even allowed to say vagina, right? Venerate the vagina. Women are wonderful. Oh, we're ashamed, right? No. It's a lot more to... What's the movie Burning Times? Did you see the part where the little kids are being interviewed? And what do you think a witch looks like? What does the little kid say? She's old and ugly. Okay? It's a little kid. She has already been thoroughly trained in the misogyny of her culture, that a woman is only worth her sex appeal to a man. And if she's lost that, she's a witch. Right? This is bizarre. Why don't you guys just spend some time thinking about that? It's really sick. It's really twisted. Woman's beauty is a magnificent thing. Here, here. We love it. Sex to the Wicca is sacred. It is not a sin. It is not a sick or gross thing. It is a beautiful gift that all of us have. And more than that, it's part of the natural energy flow of the universe. Anyone ever read Wilhelm Reich? He's a trudge in the mud to read, but he's a genius. Wilhelm Reich developed the theory of the orgone box, the 4-beat pulse of energy through the universe that is replicated and created in human sexual interaction. That our sexual interaction is the energetic beat of life through the universe. And women are, yes, nature, women are sexual, right? And men are attracted to us. This is a good thing, not a hideous thing. How it got bastardized. So what I'm going to pass around here is a deck of cards. I work with tarot cards. I'll tell you about them. This is a modern deck. I don't have much respect for many modern decks. But this particular one is called the Goddess deck, and all of the major arcana has been represented as goddesses. So, it's a variation on the tarot deck. You can pass them around. You can look at the pictures. You can ask questions or write down questions or whatever. So when people come to me, they call me up and I set up an appointment. The first appointment is about an hour to an hour and a half. You can tell me anything you want. You don't have to tell me anything. I will read you cold. People tend to bring me everyday magic, love, health, money, protection. But I specialize in the weird stuff. The things you do not want on your HMO. Okay? The stuff you don't want a record of. I practice witchcraft, not clinical psychotherapy. So I'm not legally required to report. Therefore, surgeons who have alcohol addiction can come to me, and it won't be on their record. I've helped quite a few professionals in that way. Also, people who, you know that if you tell what's going on, you will be medicated, and you won't be able to get jobs in the future. You can bring that to me. The ghosts in your attic, right? That's me. I can help with all of that. Parapsychology. So I give a tarot reading, an aura reading. I can see your energy field, and I can feel it with my hands. Okay? I have a powerful, sympathetic psychic ability. Psychic. Ooh, what's psychic? I don't know. I can feel it. Can't you? How come you can't feel it? It's like how some people say, how can you not hear that? Don't you hear that? No, I don't hear it. How can you not feel it? When I drop into my trance state to read my client, it's like opening my eyes. I can't walk around that receptive all the time. It would destroy me. People are miserable. They are thinking about their taxes. They got infected toenail. I can't be drenched with all that all day, right? You got to have your walls up. But when I open up to my client, and you can block me out. I don't resist blocks. There's a block, great. You want to block there, fine. I'll work with what you want to show me. I'm not going to try and power through any of your blocks, right? So I do a tarot reading, an aura reading, and from all of that information, I make my recommendations. Yes, dear?
What about palm reading?
Palm reading, I do a bit of palm reading. I'm very interested in it. Palm reading bumps on your head, anything that's in your body, you're a help me. Iris reading, what they call it, iridology. Right, all of this, we're looking at the physical manifestation of your energy flow. And it all coordinates. What's going on in your mind, your soul, your body, it's all connected, it reflects. Now this is antithetical to Christian dualism, to monotheistic dualism, which is your body ain't nothing, it's all your soul, separate. Right? Yes?
Did you have a client that asked you to do a full reading with their body, like palm reading, tarot reading,
sure.
all that?
Everything I can, sure. Different people want different things. Yeah, I'll do all of that. It's okay. It's a matter of time, and you got to pay me. But you got to pay me for my time, but sure. I can do all of it at once if you want. And then I custom their spell work, whatever they need. So this is the tarot deck I usually use. This is the White Rider deck. painted by a woman named Pamela Smith, but of course it was named for the men who published it. Go figure. So, there's 78 cards in the tarot deck. Each one has a different meaning. The tarot deck is not necessarily Wicca. You're not going to say, oh, well, you don't read tarot, you're not a real Wicca. It's not like that. This is the tool I use to focus my sensitivity, to translate my psychic comprehension, to give me that information. A good tarot deck is like a good pair of leather boots. As time goes by, it wears to fit you. You develop a relationship with it. It comes custom tailored to you. Okay, so there's some stuff, a bunch of information. Oh, I thought you guys would get a kick out of this. You want to see some real magic spells? You guys, this is, I have like a box. I pulled this out from under my stuff. It's a box of all these different charms. Some of them are when, I made an ounce more than I needed, or I had some left over. So some of these I don't even know what they are. I really don't think anything will hurt you. Please don't put it in your eye or your mouth, children. And don't throw it on the floor, okay? Little basic caution here. Okay, so you might see this symbol in the book. This is a symbol for, this is Loabo Carson, and I believe this one is for attracting the opposite sex. Ooh. Got a whole bunch of love potions in here. Yohimbi. Who knows what Yohimbi is? Herbs. A huge amount of witchcraft is just herbal medicine. So here, I'll just, if you guys want to check some of these out, you can pass those around. Here's some, you guys can check these out. If you want to look at them, there are different ones. So, it looks like one of those is one someone gave me. And here's some tools. Now, as a minister, I work with death. People come to me around issues of death, dying, I channel the dead. People often come to me with traumatic deaths where they could not get spiritual gratification from their monotheistic religion. For instance, my kid committed suicide and the preacher told me it was my own damn fault.
So wonderful.
Okay, so then they come to see me. So, this is one of my tools that I use. And this is an old wine box that I got out of a free box. And I love it because it's wood. I like to work with natural elements as much as possible. Having said that, am I so pure? No. I got this at the dollar store. When I can afford, I know, who knows what's in here? It's probably toxic, right? But when I can afford it, I work with beeswax, right? When my client's paying me $700 for a spell, I use a beeswax candle, okay? When I'm doing a free lecture, sorry guys, you got one from the dollar store. You see what I'm saying, right? So witchcraft, if nothing else, is practical. It's about life and living. So this is one of my personal magic tools, and many witches will develop their very own tools. This is one I use for channeling the dead, for releasing the dead, for assisting the dead on their journey. This is a feather from an African hornbill, which is, in its culture, a bird for death and for transporting spirits. And I've used the moon card from the Pamela Smith deck. Okay, which is a journey card. Oh, would that I could just download you, do the Vulcan mind transfer like Spock, yes, give it all to you. So, let's see, here's some other books I use. This is the Crystal Bible. This is a very modern book. And it's got, you said, how do I know? Little brother, you said, what's this gentleman? What's your name, dear?
John.
John. This book is the Crystal Bible. And it has a whole bunch of different stones in it. And I'll look up in there, I need my computer, what should I do? And they have a stone in there for it, and I may or may not use it, I'll need to feel it. It's like cooking, right? And here in the Spiral Dance, yay, Spiral Dance, she has a selection of lovely little herbal charm recipes that you can make that are just very sweet and anyone can do. And then back here in the back, she have a table of correspondences, right? So this goddess, this herb, right, go together. Here's one for money and business. Well, maybe you don't have any of these stones, but maybe you have these herbs. Okay? So you look like that, and that's one of the things I would use. Now, this is a book that I think is hugely important. This is the Women's Encyclopedia of Myths and Secrets. And I have 3 master's degrees, and I have carried clinical psychotherapy licenses in 4 states. I appreciate academia, okay? I like this book because it's footnoted. If you don't believe her, you can look it up yourself. I really like it. Because there's a lot of knowledge in here, a lot of information that is antithetical to what we're supposed to believe. A lot of info. So, okay, and one other thing, Back to Eden. This was a textbook written in like 1940, I think. You know this book? Oh man, this is a great book. This is like herbal remedies for everything. So, I'm a witch. People come to me because they have cancer and they've been told they're going to die. People come to me with stubborn conditions and resistant symptoms. Stuff that everyone else has said it can't be done. Right? Am I 100% effective? No, I'm not God. I'm a very talented, very educated, and very hard-working Wicca minister. But I'm not perfect. I don't have limitless power. I have some knowledge, some skill. Yes. And for a fee, I'll share it with you.
Were most of your clients satisfied? Like, let's say they have cancer, and then they would turn to you and then ask you for help. And then later, after you help them, were they satisfied, or what did they say?
Well, I'm thinking of a young woman I worked with a few years ago, and the last time I called her house, she had moved, and before that, when we were working together, we got to the point where the surgery was canceled because they could no longer find the tumor. Now, my magic was not the only thing she was doing to fight it, but it was a part of it. And I don't know, I guess she would call me if she needed more help. It sounds like what you want is solid evidence that the things I do actually work. Is that what you're looking for here?
In a way.
Okay, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Okay? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. I've been happily married with my true love of my life for 15 years. I got him with a magic spell. When I was ready to get married, when I was through sleeping around and had my degrees and I was ready for a marriage, I cast a spell to find the love of my life. I've used this spell repeatedly with paying clients, and yeah, I know it works because they call me up to do the wedding. And that's happened, I don't know, 6 times that I've gotten to do the wedding. And there's times I did it for people where I didn't get to do the wedding, right? I didn't officiate. So, let's see. So there's all that. Oh, here's another goddess book I brought because it has great pictures in it, right? Great images of the goddess, right? You look around today and try to see images of the feminine, and oops, and we see sluts and porn and filth and insult, you know? And it's really kind of just too bad. So, it looks like we have about 20 minutes. I'd like to open to questions at this point, or I'll just keep blabbing forever.
We have half an hour actually.
Oh, yeah,
Till
okay.
4:15.
Hang on, anyone else? Yes.
Can I ask what this one was for?
Let me see. Oh, honey, I have to put glasses on. Okay, now, are these magic? Right? Is it magic or is it science? 21 ruby hot sex. Oh, yeah. 21 ruby hot sex. This is a hot sex potion. You wear it like lipstick. Yeah.
Is it okay if I smell it?
Yeah, sure. Be careful with these. Some of them might have something hot in it, like red pepper or something. It depends on what they were. But I just thought it would be interesting to share some of that with you. And, let's see. Oh yeah, did I ask you about Yohimbi?
Yes.
Who knows what Yohimbi is?
Is it herb or?
That's right, herb. And what's it good for?
Doesn't it help increase blood flow here?
It's gentleman's virility. Husband, yeah. Right. Healthy husband, right?
Does it work?
Yeah, it's like every herbal Viagra. Yeah. Everything that you can buy over the counter, Gaia already grew for you out of the dirt. Wealth does grow on trees. Everything you need is available to you. You are sacred. The earth is sacred. God loves you and wants you to be comfortable and happy and gives you everything you need right around you. It's a matter of us learning how to move with the tides, the energies, instead of against it. I call it surfing on the sound waves of the goddess's song. Where's the energy? How's it moving? How can I use it to get where I want to be? And, you know, on TV and on movies, witchcraft and magic, boy, I mean, like, that's drama, that's entertainment, you know, but it's not real life. Anyone ever see Angel Heart? This movie?
Yeah,
Sometimes I think I'm getting too old or something, man.
Mickey Rourke.
Angel
Mickey
Heart.
Rourke.
It's a movie about, it takes place, a lot of it in New Orleans, in the voodoo culture. And on the DVD, you know, they've got like the beautiful 16-year-old mulatto chick pumping a chicken, a black chicken, and there's like blood everywhere. Oh, right, fire. Really hot guys. You know, they've all got perfectly ripped muscles, drum dancing. It's great, you know, very entertaining. But it's not real, right? And after the movie, there's a great segment of work with real voodoo workers, you know? And they're like me, you know, they're 50 years old, and they're wearing the clothes that they wear to live in every day, you know? And there's Hollywood witchcraft, there's Hollywood magic, and then there's real magic. And the real magic is this: the earth, the air, the fire, the water, the moon, the seasons, feeling the energy and moving with it, using the group energy, working together, knowing one another's energy, and working together to raise the power and direct it where we want. Yes?
I have a question. What about that, like the movie, The Serpent and the Rainbow?
I don't think I've seen it, but it sounds...
Something like voodoo.
Yes.
Is it about voodoo?
About
Oh, yeah, it's
about the zombies.
That's
like a zombie.
the Haitian.
Zombies are great. I'm sorry, zombies aren't part of the Wicca culture. I'm not familiar with that practice. I don't know how to help you with that.
Living dead, that's all.
Wicca, when the witch burnings happened, as you know, fundamentally, midwives were killed, herbalists, women who had the knowledge. The impact on society, on culture, on individual psychology, of changing the birthing process, tearing it out of the hands of the mothers and putting it into the hands of the men, is to this day causing hideous damage in family and in body. Okay? It says in Genesis, when God threw Eve out of the garden, you shall suffer in childbirth all the days of your life. So these women who knew which herbs to take to start the contractions or slow down the contractions, that was helping in childbirth, witch, burn. But we knew, and we know, even much more horrible satanic knowledge. We know how to massage the muscles on the vagina so it opens without tearing. How about that? That's about $1,000 less every doctor doesn't get for cutting and stitching. Cut and stitch. Completely unnecessary, done out of ignorance. We know massage techniques to turn the baby, to move the baby through, to work as a team with our sister who is birthed. We know how to hold her, in which position, work with gravity, as opposed to lay on your back so that the king can be sure that's his kid for the neck. I have spent my life in physical pain. You see a woman with better posture and less pain than I've ever had in my life. I was a forceps baby. I've known quite a few. Who knows forceps baby? How are you?
Oh, I'm not, but I...
You know what it is?
Yeah.
When I was diagnosed, I was 30 years old. The doctor said, touching my neck, he says, "Where were you born?" "Pennsylvania." And I said, "Baltimore." "How old are you, 30? And I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "You have a kind of injury in your neck." And it was typical. They reached in with the forceps, grab and pull. Okay? This isn't supposed to happen. The child and the mother are supposed to work together. It's physical and it's psychological. The umbilical cord is hacked, the kid's pulled away. Very unnatural. The umbilical cord continues to pulse the mother's blood, air, and energy through the child after it's out of the womb, until the placenta delivers after. Then, it naturally completes its process and then can be easily clipped away. But all of this knowledge was evil because we knew it and because it was about our vaginas, about our sexuality. You're not supposed to know it, you're not supposed to see it, you're not supposed to touch it. By training generation after generation of families to have their babies immediately ripped away from them instead of bonding. The root of misogyny, who knows what misogyny means? Fear and loathing of women. The root of misogyny is placed in every individual's mind in a pre-verbal memory. That means it's really hard to talk about because you had the experience and remembered it before you had words. Which gives a huge amount of power to the 1%, keeping the families broken, keeping women hated and feared and weak. It allows the 1% to stay in power. Loving your children is about the most radical act you can create. Having your own baby in your own arms when it's born, radical. In Kansas, they can still take your children away from you for being Wicca. So, witchcraft. The fundamental thing I want you to know about Wicca is it's natural. It's not outside of nature. It's more natural. It's because we know more of nature. It's not Satan worship. Wiccas don't even recognize the existence of Satan. That's a Christian invention. You might as well accuse me of worshiping the Easter Bunny, who I also did not invent. Okay? Do I think there's hideous demons out there? Yeah. His name is rapist. His name is incest perpetrator. Yeah, I think he's a monster. I think he's evil. But no, he's not Satan. He's a product of a sick society that is out of touch with nature. Your own nature. What else? Oh, right. I heard you guys have a class called, a book. What is it? Ghosts of Norway? Ghosts of Iceland? Mm-hmm. Okay. Here, I brought this. This is the, you asked, about knowing where spells are and stuff. This is a copy of the Kalevala. How do you say it? Kalevala? A lot of words, I'll say them however the group I'm speaking with says them. That's good enough. Okay, these are called poems, right? Back then, all of history, everything that was written was called a poem. And there's spells in here that I have used. So I thought you guys might find this interesting. And I got this book when I was in college, many years ago. And we studied Tolkien and the Lord of the Rings in my English classes. And a bunch of us students petitioned for more and more and more. And after we had taken all the classes they could invent on Tolkien, they put together a class, our teacher, Mrs. Beaucamp, God bless her, put together a class on what Tolkien had studied and what his influences were. And that's when I read this, and the Managovia, and some other really ancient texts. What else? What else? Any other questions? Here's a book called Shaman Woman Mainline Lady. And this is a book about women's drug use as a sacred act. Right? Has anybody ever felt good about drugs? Ooh, drugs, bad people. Right? It's like everything else in the world. There's a way to be sick and gross, and there's a way to be healthy. Right? So, know, some people, Billie Holiday's in there, poor thing was totally strung out on heroin. Too bad. She was a goddess of a diva. What else? Hang on just a minute. Is there anyone else? Any other questions?
Yeah, there were.
Something I've said that is shocking or gross or antithetical? Or ask me anything. Yes. If you're the only one, then go.
For the times that your magic did not work for one of your clients back in the past years.
Sure, it happens.
Did you think that there was something wrong during the ritual that you performed, or the process? There was
Oh, honey, there's a million different things that can go wrong. First of all, I hate to say it, but evil is really powerful, and there's some really mean people out there. Witchcraft is just knowledge, right? It's just knowledge. It's like a carpenter, he has knowledge, and he can use his hammer to kill his children, or he can use his hammer to build a house for his children, right? Well, it's the same with witchcraft. I use mine as Wicca. Everything I put out comes back on me 3 times. But there are people who have no qualms about using their knowledge to hurt. There are people who genuinely believe they cannot be okay unless they hurt. The Dalai Lama tells us that all violence is the result of ignorance. No, all violence is the result of fear, and all fear is the result of ignorance. Okay? So we need only teach these violent people the way of love and balance, prosperity and sharing. So all kinds of things have gone wrong. You want me to list a bunch of things that have gone wrong? That's the biggest one, is when I'm up against really mean people. Let's see, narcissistic personality disorders are really hard for me to have any influence on. Let's see, yeah, different things can happen. Yeah.
And also, did you have clients that asked you to do a evil thing for them?
Oh, sure, yeah. People have called me up and said, "You've got to turn my landlord into a frog." I call it the curse of the green weenie. I get a lot of cheated on people who want me to give their cheating lover the clap or AIDS or something. I call it the curse of the green weenie. So these people, because, a little professional humor. So these people come to me with these requests, again, because they are desperate. They don't know what their other options are. I'm the expert. I know. And I can show that, we're not going to turn your landlord into a frog, but I'll make you a charm to win in court. I'll make you a charm to get your ideal housing. Now, I'm not going to give your ex the curse of the green weenie, but I'll make you a spell to find your perfect soulmate. I'll make you a charm to get the exact loving relationship you want, whatever that is.
Because if you were to do something negative, then that would come right back at you.
Here. And this is the point. Wicca does not have a huge structure of rules. You can't use that fork with that bowl on that day. No, we don't. Anything you put out comes back on you 3 times. Again, this is not a rule. This is awareness. Look at the world. Look at society. What we put out comes back. Didn't Jesus say something about throwing your bread on the waves and it comes back? Yes.
Did you know any other witch that uses Wicca as to do evil things?
Well, if you're doing Wicca, then you would. No, honey, that doesn't make sense. That's like that. No, you don't get it.
I'm just saying,
a fundamental aspect of Wicca there. Now, wait, I'm going to repeat what I said before. It's a system of knowledge.
Yeah.
Right? So you can apply the knowledge for good or evil.
Oh, okay.
Right?
But did you actually, know any...
Honey, have you ever known anyone who did anything bad? No? You've never known anyone who ever did anything bad? Okay, that's enough. You don't get to ask any more questions. Who's next? Yes?
Do you ever have really emotional experiences or you get emotional with clients?
Absolutely. Both ways. My emotions and theirs. Absolutely. I work very empathically. People come to me often because they are agonized. They are suffering. No one believes them. No one will support them. No one will help them. They can't be understood. Why? Because it's dad who's raping me, and no one will believe it. It's because my brother-in-law who's raping me, my brother-in-law, because these sex crimes are happening and they can't get support. They're horrified, right? People come to me with all kinds of terrible situations. People come to me believing they are possessed by demons. People suffer horribly. Don't get me wrong, people come to me for daily magic. I make charms to get straight A's and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, people come to me who are anything you would take to a clinical psychotherapist. Any agony or suffering that you would take to your minister or your priest. People will bring to me. So do I feel it? Oh yeah. Even when I did strictly clinical psychotherapy, I mean, there are times when, I've done my whole session, walked my client out the door, and going right down on my knees and just cry. Just cry. Cry it out. Let the tears wash it out. It's nasty out there. There's appalling evil human beings do one another. It's terrifying.
You told us in a previous lecture in this class of someone who had been a criminal and had done very bad things, and he came to you because he wanted to change.
He wanted to change, that's right. And more than once, I have had criminal men come to me for help because they don't want to be criminal men anymore. They don't want to be violent anymore. They don't want to be raping and murdering. I'm sorry, I laugh because it's kind of weird. I'm a 5-foot-tall white chick, right? And I'm sitting there holding this 250-pound serial murderer in my arms while he cries like the battered 5-year-old he is. Yeah, it gets emotional. I mean, there's a reason those men are that violent and sick. Men aren't born like that. The Christians will tell you they are. The Muslims will tell you men are all born rapists, that they will, if they can. This is not true. Men are trained to be vile and evil. Men are lovers. Men are powerful and strong for a reason. Viva la différence. But when you take that power and try to block it, it bursts out in sick ways, like the priest raping all those little boys. Trying to spend a lifetime of unnatural celibacy, it comes out in these sick ways. Interestingly, the Buddhist monks in Thailand who are celibate for 60 years don't rape little boys. What's the difference? The Catholics go, no sexual energy, I don't have any, there isn't any, none, And the priests go, the Buddhists go, whoa, sexual energy, okay, I'm going to channel it up here and use it for this. Okay? And that's the difference. Guess what the #1 killer of Catholic priests is?
Prostate cancer.
There you go, say it out loud.
Prostate cancer.
Prostate cancer. Why? Because all the energy is just like jammed up in there. It's not moving. You gotta let that stuff cycle through, man. It doesn't mean you have to rape little kids or, be a sexual pervert. It's healthy sexuality. It's just like eating. You have to eat. You don't have to turn the Midwest into a dust bowl to eat. It doesn't have to be that way. Yes?
For your service, do you require an age limit? Because I know...
Sometimes I worry about getting in trouble with the law, but not much, because basically I tend to be a bit of a radical. I don't really have a lot of respect for their system. So the age limit only comes in when, I have a sexual abuse, an underage sexual abuse survivor on my caseload right now, And there's no way I was going to tell this little girl I wasn't coming home for her. There's no way. She found me on the internet. Her parents are employed, they got money, they got insurance. She's in a public school, there's counselors, nobody could help her. It's all about, here, you want some Prozac so you can finish your math homework? It's like this, So I don't know what would happen if I got in trouble for that. You can report me if you want, we'll find out. It's not like I'm doing clinical psychotherapy.
Is that when this was at Pirates of Emerson for years, that it had a tarot booth, and you were only allowed in if you were 18, and it had something to do with the death card.
So it had to do with their insurance and trauma and stuff like that, you know. Yeah, it's
Somebody's
better.
cover their ass policy.
Yeah, cover your ass, that's right. That's funny, too bad. But you can call me, you don't have to be 18, it's okay. I always tell people too, you can lie to me, I'll believe you. I'm not gonna, just go ahead, if you wanna lie, just go ahead, I'll just go along with it until you're ready for me to know the truth. I'll just go along with whatever you want me to believe. Fine, you're 18. Okay, what else? What else would you like to know about witchcraft, about Wicca, about spell work? Anything? Okay, I hope you all got my business card. You're welcome. Yes, dear.
You said that origins were in pre-Roman Northern Europe, but do you also draw from different, like, culture areas?
Oh, thank you very much so. What's your name?
Lynn.
Lynn, thank you, Lynn. Yes, I do. There's a wonderful book called The Daughters of Copper Woman. And it was written by a woman of the Nautka Indian tribe of southern Alaska. And at the end of the book, she wrote up all the women's oral mysteries that had been passed on for generations, and she typed it up in a book. And she asked her grandmother before publishing the book, is this right? Maybe I shouldn't do this. Maybe I shouldn't put the book out there. Men are going to read it. People who don't respect us are going to read it. And her mother said, so much of the knowledge has been lost that it is time for the white women and the brown women and the red women and the yellow women to share all of the knowledge we have. So yes, I delve into the other cultures. I find that Native American in many ways dovetails, but again you deal with the misogyny, the sexism. Same with Buddhism. Dovetails beautifully in many ways. I mean, the most, Native American, look, what do I have here? Eagle feather, hawk, vulture. Did you know that for thousands of years in Egypt and in the East, they thought all vultures were female and that they reproduced by parthenogenesis? Who knows what parthenogenesis is? Yes, that's when women have babies without men. That's when females get pregnant and reproduce without male sperm. Inevitably, they reproduce females. Right? Because women are XX and men are XY. The genes. Okay, so yes, I use many other cultures. Use all the knowledge you can. Study all of it. Use all of it. I study, straight Western. I have 3 master's degrees, and I have had licenses in 4 states. So yeah, study everything you can, learn it all, and throw away the crap. You'll figure out which is bull, because it won't match what you feel. Trust what you're feeling. Trust your ears. Trust your sight. Anything else? What? I'm sorry?
I'm being a smartass.
That's okay.
I'm being a smartass about school.
Humor's important.